Jay, that's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dave Montgomery on the Lions, former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's the flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the only football podcast tonight. Football is officially back. Thursday's Hall of Fame game will be the first NFL action we will be seeing for the upcoming 2024 season. Kyle and I are going to be talking about that game. Caleb Williams wants to play in that game. Obviously, it's up to Matt Eberflus. There are a lot of things going on. We're going to give our predictions on who is going to win the Hall of Fame game. Crafty is already keeping us in check on the time. I love it. We're going to be talking about some other NFL news. And of course, we're going to end it all off with the Chives with Kyle. Let's get it. America is football. Football is America.
Football is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass. For the moment in time. I don't give a damn. Oh my God.
No.
You love it.
30-27. Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30-20. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Only Football Podcast. I'm Kyle, and that's Rick.
I'm Rick, that's Kyle.
And this couldn't be more exciting because on one hand, we have your favorite team. We have, on another hand, the most exciting quarterback, regardless of what team he was put on. And right out of the bat, he's going to say, I've been saying that lately, right out of the bat, right out of the gate, right out of the gate, you got this guy saying, I want to play. And for those of you that don't know, the Bears are going to be opening the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio against the Tennessee Titans, or Texans, excuse me. And the Bears have this star quarterback. Now, usually if you have a player that is as valuable to your franchise as Bears fans are hoping Caleb Williams will be to their team, you wouldn't play them in preseason. The Aaron Rodgers didn't play any snaps during the preseason. You're seeing that it's just not worth any risk. But with star quarterbacks, and not just rookies that are number one overall picks, but other rookies that did it in their generation, like Trevor Lawrence played in his first preseason game. But I know that there are others like Joe Burrow that didn't. So it's really a toss-up. And I think at the bottom line here is that it comes down to Matt Eberflus and what he wants to do. I remember Kyler Murray starting in the preseason. Personally, I think preseason is very valuable reps for a young quarterback just to get out there, get his feet wet, try to get into a rhythm, try to learn some of your wide receivers, and just get the first snaps out of the way before week one actually kicks off. And there's going to be people that say if Caleb Williams gets hurt in the preseason in any manner, the Bears' whole season is now over before it even began. So as a Bears fan, Rick, do you want to see Caleb Williams? I know you're eager to see him, but is it worth it to see him in the preseason?
I am so torn. I really am, dude, because this story came out earlier today. He's like, I want to play. And his reasoning behind it is I think it's a very strong reasoning, and I think it's fair too. To quote him, he said, I would say working on my blitz and coverage looks and feeling the umbrella of the defense and feeling that out to adjust protection, to adjust whether it's a run, flip the run into it, flip the protection, get to a quick gain, get to a cover zero check, however the structure of it works out. So what he wants to do is he wants to go up against NFL defenses and see how well he can do in terms of adjusting, in terms of reading the defense, whether the play will work, having an audible. And him saying that to me, as someone who has not had a quarterback who was brave enough to do something like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or the greats Drew Brees and shit, like it feels amazing to hear him do that. On the other side, and I think I'm going to go 51% on this side, if he plays one play and gets hurt, it's over. The season is basically over. You could throw in Tyson Bagent if you want, but I don't know, man. It's just, to me, the season is over, even with all the weapons. And that's how it's going to feel. Will it be over? Probably not. We'll probably still be competitive. But yes, that larger chunk of me, the 51% of me, does not want him to play, just because an Aaron Rodgers situation might happen. 4 plays in, all of a sudden you ruptured your Achilles and you are out for the entirety of the season. So that part of me, being a Bears fan, never having a franchise quarterback, the closest thing being Jay Cutler, I don't want him to play. I do not want him to play, but he wants to go out there. And he says something like that will only be productive for younger guys like him. And you can clearly see a shift into a time now. For example, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow didn't play their preseason games, where a number 1 overall pick quarterback or a first round quarterback at that, even second rounders maybe, are not necessarily going to play those preseason games to get them up to speed, I guess, in a sense, because you do want to protect your investment. In this case, it's Caleb Williams, the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, however you want to go about it, right? I think we're clearly shifting into that era of the preseason games are really starting not to matter, except maybe carving out the rest of the 53-man roster heading into the regular season. There's going to be some spots that open up for cornerback, for linebacker, for edge. We got to round those guys out. But I got to say, man, it really fucking fired me up to hear Caleb Williams talking about, I want to be able to turn this from a run into a pass, into a quick slant, this, that. I was just like, that's the quarterback. That's our quarterback right now. So
we're going to audible?
We're going to audible now? Oh, hell yeah.
This plays suck.
Thank God.
So if you're the head coach, you're saying, look, I'm eager about this, but it's just not worth the risk. But you love the excitement. But sometimes it's a coach's job to get a player out of his own way. Yeah. I'm going to go on the other side here. All right. If I'm the head coach, this is what I'm doing. I'm letting Caleb Williams go out there and letting him rip it. Now, there's this philosophy of life that the only wrong decision is no decision. And especially in football, really anything that goes bad, usually hesitation comes first. Mm-hmm. Football is a very violent sport, and you could go out there and he could get hurt in the preseason. But as Crafty alluded to, you can also get hurt on the 4th snap of the regular season as well, just like Aaron Rodgers did. So football is such a dangerous sport that I'm almost going the opposite way, where it's impossible to play this game in a hesitation mindset, right? So I throw him out there and say, let him go out there, let him rip it. It's a violent sport, but let's not start off with these bad vibes of even thinking about an injury. Let's just let him go out there and get those reps and not hesitate, do those audibles. The hesitation sometimes does hurt people. For instance, last year, Dak Prescott didn't play in any of the preseason. And they asked him before the preseason finale if he was upset about not participating in the preseason. And he said it helped him get a jump start on focusing on the season opener. So there's a lot of angles at this with players not playing. Sometimes they just want to focus on week 1 and just leave it at that. But for a young quarterback, this is like this is what the preseason is made for. I mean, you got practice squad guys and then your rookie quarterbacks. It's almost like a special prize for all these young quarterbacks that don't want to take their first snaps in a real game that actually matters. Go make those dumb decisions in the preseason, get it out of your system. Like, imagine he goes out there and he does Caleb Williams stuff. He's spinning around and then he sees a player downfield and he just rips it and throws an interception. And he walks back to the sideline. He's like, okay, so I can rip it, but I can't do this type of shit. Like, you have those learning moments. And if you could do it in a game that doesn't matter, that could be huge for Caleb Williams. But I think it's just a mindset. We're not going to hesitate. We're not going to play scared. We're going to play to win. And Caleb Williams, you're a quarterback. Go out there and have some fun, because we're going to need you to play at a high level starting week 1.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much what his mindset is at. Outside of wanting to possibly audible or get his experience, he wants to know, how good are these, NFL corners? How good are these NFL rushers? How good are these NFL linebackers and safeties? Like, can I do what I did at USC in terms of like making my own play, extending the play, running out of the pocket, just getting the ball out there? Where are my receivers at physically? Right. And this isn't me trying to say that he's questioning the athleticism of these guys. He just wants to get a feel for the game, and one of the things, because I want to address this comment by Crafty, this is the first test of Eberflus's assertiveness over Caleb's ego. He said it's coach's decision. He's like, I would love to go out there and play. It's pretty awesome to be at Canton, but it's coach's decision. So who wears the?
Put that to bed pretty quick.
I know, yeah. It's coach's decision. Who wears the pants in the Bears locker room? Honestly, at this point, Crafty, it's fucking Ryan Poles. It's Ryan Poles who wears the pants. But no, I do like that mindset from him. Like you said, I hate to just go off the vibes of, I don't want him to get hurt. We have to put him in a bubble and we have to wrap him up so nothing ever happens to him. But it's one of those things in the back of my head where we just have not ever had a franchise quarterback. And this is our first real shot at having one. So my first instinct is like, protect him. Right. So, yeah, but I totally get where you're coming from. Like, let him out there, let him make mistakes, and fuck it. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Throughout my middle school, high school, and even my junior development football, I'd always noticed a common theme that the best player on the field, that every kid has it, right? You got that guy in your team that's playing both sides of the ball and nobody can really stop him. And it's like, he should be in the next level, but he's with your league, unfortunately. that guy, you always notice, is like throwing his body all around, and somehow he doesn't deal with any injuries. Like there's never an injury. These guys are invincible. And you see something similar to that in the NFL with a lot of think about like Brian Urlacher. How often was he hurt? One of the hardest hitting people, because he was the aggressor. And it's hard to like put words to what I'm trying to say. But if the question of getting hurt, you just don't want that in his head at all. Like you really want him, if he's truly the best quarterback in generations that's come into the league, then you don't have to worry about that. Because what do we know about quarterbacks that are like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady? They don't get hurt. Yeah. So if you put him out there and you believe that he is what he says he is, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll protect his body. He'll find a way to fall well if he does have to fall, because that's what the elite quarterbacks do. They don't get hurt.
And I was going to say, like, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers 4 plays and getting injured last year. The dude's 40 years old. Like, he has had an entire career prior to his first 4 snaps as a Jet. And he's won MVPs. He's won a Super Bowl. We talk about Tom Brady protecting their bodies. The rules that are set up for quarterbacks now are just like, I was actually listening to a interview with Elway earlier today on Pardon My Take. And he was like, I was, yeah. The guys that Pardon My Take were interviewing him, and I only caught the first few minutes, but they were like, how crazy would it be to for you to be a quarterback in this day and age? Like, what do you think your passing would be? He's like, I'm not even thinking about the passing. I'm thinking about the protection that these quarterbacks get now. Because before, we all know this, they were not protected. You got Joe Theismann, getting his career ended by Lawrence Taylor. You've got other guys getting destroyed by defensive linemen and linebackers on blitzes and stuff, and they didn't care. That's how it used to be. So again, I'm very protective of like, no, don't let him go out there, but the rules are out there for quarterbacks. Caleb seems to be a guy who is smart in, like you said, protecting his body, knowing what he can and can't do. He's already gone up against the Bears defense, who for the latter half of last season were doing really, really well. So he's going up against Montez Sweat. He's going up against TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds and all these guys rushing at him. So he's got a pretty good idea of what NFL defenses are going to be.
To that point, you're right. Like, you're going against those really tough guys. Real quick, I'm going to say what's up to Valdez. What's up? Happy to have you in here. But to your point about Caleb Williams going against really tough competition at practice every single day, the main reasons that joint practices are held in the offseason is because players they get really familiar with a specific defense and they want to bring in a variety. So that's why you have joint practices to begin with. So you can make the claim that Williams is getting all the reps he needs in practice, but keep in mind that those are often controlled environments and where familiarity grows over weeks of competing against each other. So I think Caleb Williams, you got to take into account that he wants to play against other people. He wants to play against somebody other than the defense that he's been seeing every day. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Bears haven't held any joint practices up to this point in the offseason.
Not that I have heard, no.
So, I just wanted to add that perspective in there as well. He did speak today. He said, I would say working on my blitz and coverage looks. Did you read this already?
Yeah, that was the quote that I read.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, the language coming out of there, you absolutely love his excitement. And I just say don't pour cold water on it. Let the young guy feel these emotions and let him go out there like many preseason guys do. Earlier, you said Kyler Murray didn't play in the preseason, but he did play in the preseason.
Oh, okay.
And it looked like he needed those reps. It really did. And it's not, let's be real, it's not just for Caleb Williams, it's for the fans. Like, don't you want to see Caleb Williams hit, a 10-yard, if he just makes one really damn good throw, everyone's going to be like, yes. Oh, I've seen enough. Take him out of the game. Take him out of the game. We just wanted to see. We know what we got. Now, I think that's important for the fans going into week one to already feel that way about their quarterback as well. Because if the fans feel that way, Caleb Williams feels that way about himself. So the only downside is like maybe if he doesn't have that good throw, he feels a little bit down. But then week one, he's like, I know what I need to do to improve before week one. So the upside, though, is that he does make a couple badass throws and he goes into week one versus they're playing the Titans, right?
Week one, the Titans, yes.
So that's why I confused the Titans earlier. But you go into that Titans game with Caleb Williams' energy and his vibe and his confidence already through the roof. So this conversation, I mean, it's existed as long as the preseason has, and the argument goes back and forth, and there's really good points to be made on both sides. But at the end of the day, it's coach philosophy. There's guys like Sean McVay that don't play any of their starters. I believe Kyle Shanahan's the same way. But let's be real. Those teams are competing for Super Bowl. I know the Bears, like in their head, are competing for the Super Bowl. But the 49ers have legitimate reasons to know, like, we're probably going to be in the NFC Championship game. Maybe we shouldn't risk our players, but they've kind of earned that right. And in my opinion, like teams like the Broncos, Giants, Bears, Titans, like we're the teams that need our starters out there. They haven't earned that that ride on the bench. Remember when Sean Payton got the head coaching job? He said, "I don't want to see anyone with Gilligan hats on the sideline doing interviews with their sunglasses on. What the fuck? You guys suck."
Yeah. He's like, I want you to be there for your team, clapping it up for the guys who will possibly make it or possibly not make it.
Yeah. Just don't act like, a superstar when you haven't been in the playoffs in 9 years.
Simple. Exactly. And kind of going off that, do you think, just because I'm thinking of like other quarterbacks, like which of these first round quarterbacks absolutely need to play in the preseason? Because you said Bo Nix, we're looking at JJ McCarthy, we're looking at Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and obviously Caleb Williams. We kind of talked about Caleb Williams. All of them need to play in your eyes.
In my eyes, every single rookie quarterback should be playing in the preseason. Now, when I say that, the way I would do it is 2 series in the first game, 2 series in the second game, so you can compare the 2 series to the 2 series, and then the first quarter in the third game.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we're not when we say play him, like we're not talking about him out there the whole game, at least not in my eyes.
Yeah.
It's just letting him get out there, get his feet wet, make a couple throws, do a couple of reads, feel the speed of the professional football, and then pull him out of there. And then you got some bulletin board material. Okay, what did he do well? What didn't he do well? He looked nervous on this protection. Like,
that's same thing in training camp. This was happening. So I get you.
Yeah. So, we're actually going to transition into our, I can't believe I'm saying this, our first prediction of the 2024 NFL season.
Let's go.
I can't believe we're here. We are here.
Every
year. I think my birthday normally lands on the Hall of Fame game. When is the Hall of Fame game? Is it August 8th?
It's August 1st. It's this Thursday.
Okay. My birthday is the 5th. So this year I'm 4 days off. I think last year and the year before it was on the 5th, but regardless, we made it. We made it.
We made it. We made it, everybody.
I love the Hall of Fame game. Real quick, just to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame game. It's always a really special game, not just the players, but you get to watch inductees. They all show up at that game. It's a historic game out of Canton, Ohio. This year, 7 players will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, including Dwight Freeney, Randy Gradishar, Devin Hester, who will probably be going for the Bears in this game, Andre Johnson, who will be going for the Texans, and Steve McMichael, Julius Peppers, and Patrick Willis are all going to be at the game on the sideline. So it's a really, really cool game. And you think about the long road of creating a legacy, where you're Caleb Williams and you're standing on the field with these guys getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and you have the same aspirations. And here you are about to take your first start, and you're just hoping one day you're on that side of the field. It's a really cool circle of life moment, and it makes the game really special. So with that said, we're going to actually make our first prediction of the season in this Hall of Fame game, which is always difficult to predict a preseason game. For one, we still don't know if Caleb Williams is playing. We just talked 20 minutes about it and we have no answer. And then on the other side of the ball, you don't know. Usually in these games, none of the starters play. That's just the way the Hall of Fame game goes. Even if the Bears, because I believe every team has 3 preseason games, but if you're in the Hall of Fame game, you play 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me double check that, because I believe you're correct. And let's see. Okay, Bears Hall of Fame game, week 1, week 2, week 3. Yeah, so technically 4 games for the Bears and the Texans. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So even if the Bears say that, hey, we want to start Caleb Williams, it's probably not going to happen in this game. It's going to happen on the next game. So let's get into it. We got you. I mean, we couldn't do this without you. So the Chicago Bears are playing their first game. No Chicago Bears fan equipment will be worn by you at any point until the Bears make you proud, right?
Yes.
And they have to win at least 6 games or something.
5 games preseason counts.
What if they win their 5th game week 17? Are you going to wear Bears gear?
Dude, if they win their 5th game week 17, you're going to see me in full ref uniform. That's what you're going to see. Crafty's going to finally, Crafty or Nick, I forget who's always talking about like my NFL and like my white team is like, sooner or later, we're going to see Rick in a full referee outfit. It was like Nick or Crafty who always say that. And that's what you're going to see me in. You're also going to see me absolutely gray haired and just pissed off. That's what you're going to see me as.
Yeah, I'm sorry I brought it up. Let's not start with the bad vibes. We talked about that already.
Yeah.
The Bears are already in a very, very tough division, but what's going for them is that they don't play their first divisional game until week 11 against the Packers.
Yeah.
I don't have that in front of me, but I'm 90% sure that's true. And then there's other teams that they play that are, I don't want to say easy games, but the Bears were handed the same kind of schedule that the Texans were handed last year. And I think that's important for this team. And people say, look, the preseason doesn't matter. You're 0-0 when the regular season starts. I don't know. I think it just gives you a good feeling when you go out there and you win your games, no matter if they're preseason games or not. I remember last year, Denver beat a team. I think it was the Rams. It was like 42-0. And
oh my God,
people are like, people are like that doesn't matter. I'm like, tell that to Broncos country because we are all feeling great about week 1 after a game like that. Because you're like, if our practice squad guys are this good, what preseason does tell you how much depth you have. If your starters aren't playing and your team is still dominating, that means that your backup, your third string guys are actually pretty damn good. That's a good feeling, and it's important to know. So going into this game, give me your first thoughts on the game. We'll wait to give me your winner. Just give me your first thoughts on the game.
Well, before I get into that, real quick, Bill is here, and I want to give a huge shout out to Bill. We're still not able to stream on X because they got to go through the verification process, but because of Bill right there, everybody whose comment I'm showing, we were able to get a year's worth of X Premium, and we will eventually, probably the next stream, be streaming on X again. So huge thank you to Bill. Thank you so much, Bill. You are the best. Number one supporter throughout our entire history, pretty much, of the Only Football Podcast. Ever since you came on here, you have been nothing but a gentleman and a scholar to this podcast. So thank you so much, Bill.
You are the engine that keeps us running.
You really are. You really are. First thoughts on this game are obviously the Caleb Williams things. Does he play? I'm going to be excited if he plays. Obviously, going to be very precautious about what they do. I'm going to be very protect him. If he doesn't play, I will be very, very interested to see how Tyson Bagent does. Now, looking at the Bears roster in terms of quarterback, we have Tyson Bagent, Austin Reed, who is a rookie out of Western Kentucky, and Brett Rippon. I think you know him, Kyle. You know Brett Rippon pretty well. Crafty said this channel may as well be called the Only Bill Fan Podcast. There you go.
I don't know if that's insulting or the only Bill fan.
I think so. I think it's a little insulting. How dare you?
And it's
Bill. Bill, number one super fan. So, only football super fan right here. But I will be interested in seeing how Tyson Bagent, Austin Reed, and Brett Rippon do. Because more than likely what's going to happen is Tyson Bagent's going to be the backup, and Brett Rippon and Austin Reed will probably be practice squad guys. Brett Rippon may go to another team to be a backup, whatever happens there. I just kind of want to see after last year with Tyson Bagent, how he's doing with, the backup guys, for example. I just want to see if he's improved. Obviously he was a rookie last year, so when he was out there on the field, it wasn't the best quarterback play we've ever had, and that's coming from the Bears fan. So we know shitty quarterback play. But I just want to see how the quarterbacks do, how Khalil Herbert does, or how Roshan Johnson do? What are some of the skill positions there at running back, quarterback, and even wide receiver? Velus Jones, a couple of these guys that are coming in, and what our depth, kind of what you were referring to, was what our depth looks like on the defensive side. Because right now we do not have very good depth of the defensive line. That is probably our weakest position on the defense. And I just want to see the depth we have. So it's going to be awesome to kind of see that. In terms of the Texans, definitely want to see what their backups are like too, and how much depth they have. We talk about their wide receiver trio after, getting Stephon Diggs. I don't think that CJ Stroud is going to play either. And this is one of those times where I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Why does he have to play, right? He's proven that he's going to be a QB1 and a very good one for a long time there in Houston. So doesn't necessarily yeah, he's not going out there, doesn't need to play. I do like, again, I like seeing the depth, seeing how some of these guys like break out and again, round out that 53-man roster for the Texans. Plus, I mean, it's going to be awesome to watch the Hall of Fame game there in Canton. I think it's an awesome setting. You got guys that aren't necessarily starters who are trying to at least fight for a position on the roster who get to play at the Hall of Fame where they hope. I think anybody who's ever played NFL football hopes to get to one day. So I think that'll be like a huge motivating factor for these guys who are at the very bottom of that depth chart, to give them a little bit of fire, in these preseason games. So definitely the ambiance of it all is something I'm looking forward to, the depth on the Bears players and how these other second year, third year players play in this against the Texans. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. And a little history is the underdogs have been pretty successful as far as betting goes. Nice. Last year's upset win by the Browns over the Jets extended a strong run by underdogs in the past. Since 2013, the underdogs are actually 5-4, so they have a winning record in 6-2 in the last 8 games. The last 2 Hall of Fame games had AFC teams against each other. Prior to that, 3 AFC NFC matchups, and AFC teams went 3-0 in that time frame. Ooh. The last NFC team to beat an AFC team in this game was Minnesota, who beat Pittsburgh 14-3 in 2015. So It has been almost a decade since the NFC team won this game, but whatever. It's just an interesting stat. It doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. DeMeco Ryans, like you said, I said Stroud not expected to play, but his backup is going to be Davis Mills, who has 26 career starts, and Case Keenum, who has 66, and even Tim Boyle, who has 20. So in other words, all 4 Texan quarterbacks have more career starts than all of the Bears quarterbacks. Pretty much.
God damn it.
So you are definitely valuing the Bears quarterback reps more than the Texans. Oh, yeah. I don't expect to see CJ Stroud or Caleb Williams in this game. If we see Caleb Williams in the game, he'll only play a couple snaps. I am excited to see what some of and I guess I'm just a nerd, but I like to see these practice squad guys go out there because they're, weeks away from being cut. And they have an opportunity to go out into this game and just make a couple plays that is going to be on film. And not just that, they want to play good because even if they're going to get cut, you want some type of film to show to other teams to be like, look at this play that I made. So you really get hungry players out there for a game that people are normally drinking and talking through. It's their whole life for the players. It is very, very important to them.
And I was going to say, that's what Sean Payton was trying to convey to his guys who don't have to worry about a roster spot, is like, hey, while you're, wearing a fucking bucket hat, doing interviews with your sunglasses on, these guys are out here through blood, sweat, and tears trying to get to a position that you're in right now. So let's give that support. So I totally agree with you there.
If you're looking at the over-under, you just had it up. I think it was
32.5.
32.5. I'm betting the under. I think these games are normally pretty low scoring. Yeah, I'm definitely going. Well, that's pretty low for an over under.
I was gonna say
That's what 17 to 14. 17 to 14 to 14 would be 28. So like 17 to 14 something. No, 17 to 18. So 17 to 14 would still hit the under, but by only 1.5 points. Yeah, I would still go with the under. The Bears opened up as actually 1.5 point favorites over the Texans on FanDuel, but now the Texans. So who's favored to win this game now? The Bears are still favorites. The Bears are minus 130 favorites to win. So
wow.
That's a little surprising just because the Bears have a lot of talented players, but those guys aren't playing. And then the Texans,
same.
It's the same on the Texans, but because of their recent success, you would think that they would give the edge to the Texans. Like, oh, this was a playoff team last year. But I guess no, right? The Bears, I mean, high expectation. Both these teams are going in with really high expectations. I mean, the Bears are playoff or bust mentality. The Texans are Super Bowl or bust mentality. So I think that part of the game is going to be fascinating, especially, look, let's just be real. The most important and fun part of this whole game is that football's back. Like,
football is fucking back.
Football is back. So once that ball gets kicked off, which guess what? It's going to look entirely different than any kickoff we have ever seen.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what does this actually look like. I've heard it talked about, it's got to go inside the drop zone and all of this stuff, but to actually see it play out, I didn't see it on XFL. People said, oh, the XFL did it. I tried to find it on YouTube. I couldn't find any video
really
showing it. So to see live reps of this is going to be fascinating. So just from the kickoff, it's like football's back, and it's also different than it's ever been. And that's how the kickoff's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say that was definitely one thing that I was looking forward to as well. And the kickoff thing, obviously. What else was it? It was like the hip drop tackle. We're going to start to see some things like that take effect. And the NFL came out over the offseason and said, or I forget if it was the NFL or just like some analysts, where it's like, actually, when you really look at the 2023 season and seasons before that, the hip drop tackle wasn't necessarily a very often used tackle. A lot of people were coming out and saying that, like, the hip drop tackle rule may not necessarily be something that you're going to see that often in NFL games in the 2024 season, because it doesn't really happen that often. So to see that is going to be very interesting. Again, we talked about the kickoff rules. I'm trying to look at what else we're looking at, including to include a ruling of a passer down by contact or out of bounds before throwing a pass. I think those are the two biggest ones, is that hip drop tackle and then the kickoff rule adjustment. They actually got a video of it that to address the low. Yeah, no, I'm not going to read it. That's too long, but I'm definitely going to be very, very interested in seeing how that goes. Like you said, because the kicker starts off at one spot, he goes and kicks off, and the opposition, the kickoff team and the kick return team cannot move until the kicker either has the ball in possession or it lands in the drop zone, which I believe is from the goal line to the 20-yard line. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still can like visualize it, but to actually see it and see like, okay, how is this? I don't know. It's kind of like when the extra point got moved back. It was like we understood it, but we wanted to see it happen.
Yeah. That's fair.
These guys gonna miss. The Bears and the Texans. What's also cool is Devin Hester, like I said, is being inducted, and then Andre Johnson's the first player drafted by the Texans to reach Canton. Period. JJ Watt will probably be next, but I feel like I'm just kind of guessing here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the Texans in this game just because of the
Sick.
success they had last year, and because I trust their head coach more than Matt Eberflus. I think D'Amico Ryans is a really good coach. I think if you got, your both guys are handicapped without their starters out there, you
Mm-hmm.
really are just betting on the best coach who's going to have their
Yeah.
players more prepared for this game. I'm going to just go with D'Amico Ryans because of what we saw last year. I'm still not a Matt Eberflus. I'm not on that bandwagon, and Caleb Williams isn't going to be there to save him. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the Texans in this game. I'm going to say the final score is 20-14.
Oh, okay. I like that. 20-14. Um, I'm going with the Bears because fuck it. Why not? Why not? This is and look, it's fun doing these predictions, and obviously it's going to be even more fun and worth more to us at least when we get into the regular season. But
Oh yeah.
I won't. What's that?
Oh, it's just. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just this is gonna be fun. I like Tyson Bagent and Brett Rippon. We got Tyson Bagent started a couple games last season. Brett Rippon has been kind of a what do you call him? A journeyman quarterback in the NFL. So he started some games. He's gone in, cold. So I kind of like the chances there. I'm actually not entirely sure who the Texans backup quarterback is. Davis Mills,
Yeah,
Case
Davis Mills,
Keenum,
Case Keenum,
and Tim
and
Boyle.
Tim Boyle. Yeah.
Oh, Tim Boyle. He was the guy in the Jets, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been around the block too.
Has he? Yeah, because I was like,
These are all three
yeah,
journeyman quarterback. Case Keenum's been
yeah.
with 6 teams now, maybe.
Oh man, he was on the Jets last year. He was actually in the Bears the year prior, Detroit in 21, and then in Green Bay in 2019 and 2020.
How many
So
signs are gonna be "Welcome home, Tim"? Welcome back home, Boyle. Home
and
sweet home.
I was gonna say, if the Texans are playing the entire NFC North, it's gonna be like "Welcome home, Tim Boyle." When they play the Jets, "Welcome home." But again, I like a little bit more of the experience from Tyson Bagent and Brett Rippon on the Bears, and I'm gonna go with the Bears because fuck it, they got Roshan Johnson there, they got Khalil Herbert, they've got some playmakers. I like it. I'm going Bears. Score
They got
wise,
some playmakers.
they
There's
got
enough.
some play. The field
It's like
is
you
just gonna
really, when
be
you have nothing, you're just like they have professional football players on that side of the ball.
combined. They have 8 years
Mixed with 2
experience.
fuckets because fuck it, they have football players. Fuck it, Bears. Oh man.
Oh man, that was awesome. And as far as the score, I'm gonna go 14-10. 14-10.
Okay, so you're
Keep it in the
keeping it a
other.
low scoring game.
Yeah, keeping it in the other. And Bill just said, I just gave him the handle for X. He said, thanks. The other show just thanked me, so I shouted you guys out to them too. He gave you a follow. Let's go, Bill. Bill just literally keeping us running. I love it.
Just keeping our nose above water.
Yeah, even though it's another Giants fan, it's all right. We like it.
Well, of course, on Friday, Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa got really big contracts. And we pulled up the top paid quarterbacks live on camera. And what we noticed was Patrick Mahomes, who had that contract, is like the 10th highest paid quarterback now. There's a lot of guys that are being paid more money than him. And if you were to just pay quarterbacks strictly on value, Mahomes would be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
So with these contracts coming up, it raises the question, and that's why we asked it here. is Patrick Mahomes supposed to get more money now because of these other deals? How does that work? We see Tyreek Hill get crazy contracts, and then one day after Justin Jefferson, he's like, it made me feel a certain way. Patrick Mahomes has been kind of sitting back while these quarterbacks have been getting paid for the last 3 years now.
Yep.
And Patrick Mahomes was asked on if he's underpaid compared to other quarterbacks, and he said not necessarily. While quarterback contracts are rocketing up in the financial books, a number of teams have now, I guess, reached out to Mahomes, not teams, journalists, and they've asked Mahomes this question because, to be honest, the Patrick Mahomes deal is starting to look like a bargain. And this is very similar to Tom Brady in New England, if you remember correctly. It was like he was always taking these team-friendly deals, even though he was the most valuable quarterback in the NFL. But Mahomes isn't really having any of that type of talk. I mean, they reached out and said, oh, your contract looks like a bargain now. This is what he said. It's awesome for the game of football. It's awesome for the quarterback position, but I think all positions, I know every time a contract comes up, everybody looks at my average per year salary and everything like that. I'm doing pretty well myself. For me, it's just about going out there and trying to win football games, trying to make money for the family at the end of the day. I feel like I'm doing a great job at that. At $45 million a year, Mahomes is doing pretty damn well, I would say.
I was gonna say he's making, let's see, 1,000 times my salary. I think he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, that would mean I can't do that math right now.
We're not going to talk about math here, right?
But yeah, I mean, there's been contracts given out to less accomplished quarterbacks like Tua, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Trevor Lawrence. And I do believe Mahomes is now underpaid because of the new contracts that have been given out. And there's not every player that I feel this way about, but Patrick Mahomes is the one player that you almost feel like he always needs to be the highest paid quarterback player in the NFL. And the moment that he's not, it feels wrong because we know that he is the most valuable player in the NFL. I mean, he's been to how many Super Bowls? 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, or every single AFC championship game?
Yeah, he's been to 4, lost 1. He's 3-1 right now in Super Bowls.
He's 3-1. So this guy's been to 4 Super Bowls already, and he's going for a 3-peat this year to be back to back for the first time in NFL history. And I think if I'm the Chiefs front office, I'm restructuring. I'm restructuring his contract because it's the right thing to do. Last year, the Chiefs were not a Super Bowl team, and they still won one. This stuff doesn't happen without Mahomes. But I guess if Mahomes has talked to the front office and he goes, I would rather you guys have a little extra money in your pocket to bring in some high-name free agents, then so be it. But he didn't really talk about that. He did say my job is to make the most money I can for my family. But it does seem like he's following in the footsteps of Tom Brady, who routinely took less money every time he was up for a contract in order to help out the Patriots in their cap space. So do you think that this is just a part of Patrick Mahomes wanting to cement a certain type of legacy where he wasn't that guy that always needed to be the highest paid guy, but he was more worried about Super Bowls?
You know what? Yeah, I think he's very much like the Tom Brady, like you're saying. Like, he wants to win. That is the reason he's been playing football since whatever age he's been playing football. A lot of these guys, man, they want to go into the NFL, just quarterbacks. 1, be the leader of the team. 2, be the guy that makes shit happen in terms of winning games, winning Super Bowls, winning playoff games, things like that. And you mentioned Tyreek Hill earlier, like, oh man, what's my paycheck going to be like? Patrick Mahomes, when he signed his deal, we got to remember his was a 10-year deal that was worth $450 million. I almost said thousand. I was like, yeah, right. $450 million.
500.
Yeah, and it's basically $500 million, right? And that is going to lead him into his age 36 year.
And he could eat Chipotle every day.
He could eat Chipotle. Dude, he could buy a Snickers every day if he wanted to.
And a Starbucks without feeling guilty.
And the Starbucks. Dude, this guy's living the sweet life. I got to get into football shape. I'm only 33. I think I can make it. But let's be honest here. If he's going to be 36 by the time this contract is over, look at Kirk Cousins, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at Tom Brady. They're playing well into their 40 year. So that's 4 more years of Patrick Mahomes. And if by that point he's got another 2 Super Bowls, let's say, right, in that 10-year span, he's going to get paid. And looking at his contract, the average is $45 million a year. And I think the highest he gets paid is in 2025. Actually, I don't even know what these really mean.
Well,
because base salary plus the signing bonus, roster bonus, workout bonus, guaranteed salary, cap number hit for 2025 is 66 mil, 26, 68 mil, 27, 64 mil. So that's how much he's making in the 25 through 27 season is 64 million. So at that point, I mean, just because it averages out to 45 doesn't necessarily mean that he is going to be the, 10th, 12th highest paid quarterback, something like that. He's going to get his money. He's definitely going to get his money.
Yeah, and Mahomes knows that what's really important is just staying on the same page as the Chiefs upper office and the leadership people. And it appears that so far everything's good. The communication's been great. Mahomes restructured already his contract. And he mentions this. He says, we do a great job. When I restructured, kind of moving money around the last time, we talked about a certain year when we were going to go back and do it again. So he says, like, it's about having that plan and constant communication, and we have that. I'm happy to see guys going out and getting as much as possible. That's awesome. But we have a great communication system here where I feel like we've done the best with what we can do. And that's part of the deal is that they've already sat down Mahomes and said, hey, in 2027, we're going to restructure again. And we're going to so Mahomes, here's something about these holdouts or hold-ins.
Yeah.
One of the things that people don't realize about a player that's holding in, like Jordan Love, a lot of times a hold-in is actually the telltale sign that a deal is about to go through. Because what happens as a player, your agent calls you and he goes, hey man, we're on the final page of this contract. It is about to be done. They're going to sign it. Do not practice, because if you hurt yourself before this gets signed, the deal is going to be off the table. Yeah. And then that's when you have the players go, I'm going to hold in. Holdouts are normally like, they're not on the same page. They want to make a statement. They're getting fined. Hold in is normally, no, I'm going to be here for my team because I know I'm about to get paid. I just don't want to get hurt. So same thing with Mahomes in not being upset about getting paid, where he's like, I already know that I have a deal that is already in the future. It's going to get done. The Chiefs know that. I know it. And honestly, every time a new quarterback gets paid, it just means that I'm going to get a bigger salary.
I was going to say what was crazy about his deal. He inked the 10-year, $450 million extension with the Chiefs during the 2020 offseason. This was before he got his second and third Super Bowl wins. This was prior to that. So I think he was picked in the 2018, right?
2018. Yeah, 2017. But he didn't start until 2018.
So hold on, let me see. Because Patrick Mahomes draft class, like you said, okay, 2017 NFL draft. So the 2017 season, 2018-19 was 3 years. So that means he still had the 4th year and the 5th year option as a first round quarterback. So his extension was wouldn't take place until 2023, which was last season when he won the Super Bowl again, and is going till 2032. I'm just like, to me, that's crazy because, like you said, it talks about the restructures in here and how Kansas City went from $7.5 million in cap space to over 21 million just because of that restructure.
Wow.
They went 3 times their amount of money in their cap because Mahomes wants to restructure, wants to bring Chris Jones back, which brings me back to what you were asking earlier, right? Like, is he this type of guy who just wants money or wants to win? Clearly, he is showing that he wants to win, and he knows in his later years he's going to get paid. He is going to get paid. And Bill here, the adult amongst the group. Missouri does have an income tax, and Kansas City has an extra tax on top of that. Always thinking about the tax. That's crazy, man. And they get taxed in every city they play in after that.
And so Chicago has everything they buy.
Everything they buy, everything they look at.
Wait, didn't you tax me already?
You think we did? We didn't though.
It's like you see your check and it's like the deductions are this long.
Yeah.
It's like, what insurance?
What the fuck? What?
All right, I got $100.
Money do I get back? Yeah, I was gonna say, what money do I get to spend? Isn't Cousins the current highest NFL paid player in terms of total take home money?
I know he was, because he kept getting franchise tagged, which was making. I remember at one point he was the highest career earnings quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if that stands today.
Let me see how much money. No, that's the average NFL player. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to put that question into
Here we go.
Google
NFL
or something.
Career earnings. Aaron Rodgers is number 1 of all time, actually.
Wow.
He's earned $546 million. Matthew Stafford's number 2. He's earned 507.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no. There's cap inflated earnings and career earnings. So Aaron Rodgers is still number 1, but it's 343 million. Stafford's 328. Tom Brady and Matt Ryan are third and fourth. Then Russell Wilson is fifth, and then Kirk Cousins. So right now he would be third, with Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford ahead of him. Kirk Cousins has earned $281 million. So much Cole's cash.
So, no, technically fourth behind Rodgers, Stafford, and Wilson. And Russ.
Oh, Russell Wilson. Wow. Yeah. I was like, he's not in the league anymore.
Yeah. That's how bad that season with the Broncos was. I was like, no way this guy's playing football. No way.
I know, dude. And it was crazy because I was talking to my uncle in the garage next to our beer fridge yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the quarterback for the Steelers, Terry Bradshaw.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how he used to call his own plays, like in the huddle. There was no like OC. And there was an OC, but he would call his own plays, which he talks about all the time. He's like, quarterbacks don't do that anymore. And I forget how it came up, but we were talking about how this is actually kind of sad. So the linebacker for the Steelers, he died from like CTE, and he like was huffing paint.
Oh, I know. It was in that movie, right? Concussion. No, is it called Concussion? The one with Will Smith? Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it.
No, really.
Was it good?
It was good. Yeah. Because it shows that guy, the linebacker. Obviously it's a portrayal with an actor, but it shows the struggles he was going through and how he was like trying to reach out to people in exactly what you're describing. I'm
definitely going to watch it. So, I was like, no, he wouldn't die huffing paint. Well, I never heard about this. I was like, he's a millionaire, he's not going to die like that. And he goes, you don't realize that the average salary in the NFL was not what it is today. In 1970, he's like, these guys are making $40,000 a year. And I was like, are you serious?
Christ.
And then I
Wow.
Google it, and guess what Google tells me? The average annual salary in 1970 in the NFL. Can you hear me?
Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
So
I
I
froze.
Googled it, and this is what it says. I don't have it in front of me, but this is what it said. It said the annual average salary in the 1970 was $28,000 per year.
What?
Which was equivalent to like, I think $400,000 in today's money. But
Okay, that's not
still,
terrible, but damn.
well, yeah, but still, even relative to inflation or the value of the dollar going down, players are still making 3 times as much money today. Like, even when you consider the value of the
Yeah.
dollar, they're still making 3 times as much today. So
Wow.
in the 1970s, players were, I mean, this was just a job. Like, and like, it was a pretty good paying job, but these $500 million contracts, like, you look at the list of the highest paid players: Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Drew Brees, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Jared Goff, Eli Manning, Alex Smith, Ryan Tannehill. This is all recent.
Yeah.
None
These are
of
all
these,
recent.
yeah, none of these players, like, all of them are, and that's going to be the way it always is, I guess. But I mean, it's not even close. Like, you go way down the list looking for somebody, Matt Hasselbeck, way down at the bottom, but he's still 1998. So
Yeah.
it's just, I never considered that. Like, in the 70s, like, they weren't hurting for money, but they were not like wealthy like they are now.
Yeah. That was the thing too. One thing that I noticed about basketball as well. A lot of these guys who were playing basketball in the 90s, like, they have to do appearances, they have to do that because the money was just not there how it is now. You're looking at a guy who is maybe the second or third option on a team, on a basketball team, who's making as much, if not more, than what Christian McCaffrey's making. You're telling me a guy who isn't even the number one option, the guy with the ball in the last second, is making as much as the best running back in football? It's insanity.
That's
Is
crazy.
insanity. And I'm like, and basketball is such a pussy sport where every little touch is a foul. I know you like basketball, but it's gotten ridiculous that you can't play defense.
That's why we used to always say 80s rules.
80s rules. Bah, bah.
We used to play in the military, and Rick would just stay in the paint, throwing elbows, screaming, 80s rules, 80s rules.
Kyle's 3-point jumper was elite. So anytime I'd guard him, I would just hold on to him. I would just grab him.
I had a book, Guinness World Records, when I was a kid, and I remember there was a sports section, and Michael Vick was in it as the biggest contract in NFL, like, of history of any sport, and it was a $50 million contract. And I remember being like, "Wow, that was a 7-year, $50 million contract." They're making $55 million a year right now.
They're making 10 times. Patrick Mahomes is making 10 times that amount right now.
Insanity. But
dude, it's crazy.
So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's definitely going to, every 4 years, probably go back to the top and restructure. But this was a really, really funny one that I got to do, especially since Bill gave us that donation. Tommy DeVito actually said this: "It would be a gamble for the Giants to cut me."
Oh shit! Shit! It's Tommy DeVito time, baby.
So a year ago, the Giants cut Tommy DeVito at the 53 man roster reduction, and then they re-signed him to the practice squad, and he went on to start 6 games and became a local sensation. He was in pizza stores, and everyone knew him. I think at one point he was like not signing stuff without money or something. Like,
yeah, he would not. He would, like, his appearances would cost a good amount of money.
So this time around, DeVito is not just happy to be in camp, but he's battling to give the front office a tough choice about whether they should keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. And this is what Tommy Tuggs said. I'm going to put them in a situation to make a decision. It's going to be up to them. I'm going to go out and do my job to the highest ability. It's not in my hands, this decision. Tommy DeVito is going to go out there and try to outplay everybody on the Giants roster, who is Drew Lock right now. And then, of course, you got Danny Dimes, number 1 on the depth chart. But Tommy DeVito, I mean, we've seen the stats of him, with Tommy DeVito. Okay. All right. But let's have an honest conversation here for a second and put all the jokes off the table. Is there any scenario that Tommy DeVito is actually this good at football? In 9 appearances last season, DeVito completed 64% of his passes, 1,101 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And the Giants went 3-3 in his starts, so that's a 500 record. He helped the Giants to 3 consecutive wins at one point. Even a thrilling victory over Green Bay, 24-22 in Week 14. Is there any legitimacy to Tommy DeVito going out there and taking a starting job from someone like Drew Lock or Danny Dimes?
I have a tough time thinking he takes the starting job from Danny Dimes because the front office is paying Danny Dimes $40 million a year. You are, unfortunately for Bill and all Giants fans, that is your destiny for the 2024 season is Danny Dimes. You bring in who was it? What was his name? The other quarterback?
Drew Lock.
You bring in Drew Lock because you lost Tyrod Taylor in the offseason, and you still have Danny DeVito, who went 3-3, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, over 1,000 or 1,100 yards or so. I just have a tough time because between Drew Lock and Danny Dimes, the experience is there. The veteran leadership is there. I mean, Drew Lock last season led a comeback victory for the Seattle Seahawks against the Cowboys.
The Eagles.
Was it? The Eagles. Yeah. So no, I don't think he's going to start above any of these guys at all. But Bill does make a very good point as to why he should stay on the roster. He said, I guarantee he won't clear waivers this year, so I want them to carry 3. We always have enough injuries at quarterback with that O-line. All 3 have had good throws in camp. So Bill is thinking, like, why not carry 3? Our offensive line, in terms of like the unit, in terms of protection, is not there yet. We saw what happened to Danny Dimes last season. We saw what happened to Tyrod Taylor in that game and how he got injured. Then, DeVito came in and had a bit of a spark there for the Giants. So his stats obviously don't necessarily jump off the page with a 3-3 record and, whatever, the 64% completion. But honestly, for a rookie who, came off the practice squad, I'm assuming last year for the Giants, that's not terrible. That is not a terrible 9-game appearance, 6 game starting for the Giants. At least not in my opinion.
He surpassed the 200-yard passing mark one time.
That's fair.
We're not talking about 300 yards. Like, we're saying that this guy threw for about $1 every single time he started. Like I will say, he showed enough ability to run an offense that he's going to be able to stay in the league. I mean, Nathan Peterman is still bouncing around for crying out loud.
Yep.
And every time I say that, I got to shout. That was my brother's high school quarterback.
Every time, Kyle's got to be like, that's
but
my
it's
brother's
just
high school
funny
quarterback.
because now he's like, we use him as an example for being terrible. And we were so proud.
And he was good.
You're so proud of him when he got drafted. But it's like, if you can be the biggest bum in the NFL, you're still cooler than most of the people.
Oh, yeah.
But
you got to put on an NFL uniform and played for multiple years. That's fucking awesome.
Dude, I'm going to show you something soon. I went into, I'll do it. I'll do it for my chives. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Tommy DeVito he's going to be a journeyman quarterback. He's going to get cut. He might get scooped up by another team if he's cut, but he says he wants to stay with the Giants, and I believe him. I mean, he's probably not going to have that same type of experience on another team that he had with the Giants. Of course, he wants to ride this wave.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a funny story because Tommy DeVito telling the Giants, like, if you cut me, it's a gamble. You're gambling if you cut me. I don't want to have to come back here and whoop your ass on another
That's
team.
because he knows what that offensive line is like. That's why he's saying it. He knows exactly what's going on there. No, but it is funny for DeVito to be like, hey, don't do it. Don't fucking do it. My cousin Tony, he's not going to like it. He's from New Jersey.
Tony will kick your ass.
Hey, yo, Shane. Hey, yo, Joe Shane. He'll beat the shit out of you. He'll make sure you never walk for the rest of your life. But no, that is very funny. I just saw this, by the way, and it has to do with our AFC South. When we were breaking down the AFC South, Samson Ibukam from the Indianapolis Colts, the defensive end, he tore his Achilles and is expected to miss the season. He led the NFL in sacks last year.
Yeah, that's terrible. You know who else? The Cowboys defensive end tore his ACL too.
What was his name? Sam something, right?
No, I have it right here. It was
Sam Williams. Sam
Williams, yeah.
Yeah, him too. And he was a rookie last season.
You hate to see it.
Wow, that's
every year.
Crazy.
It happens every year. We lost the Lions lost the kicker in Dallas and now this. So yeah, that's a big blow. And last year it was Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers says he's highly motivated to elevate the Jets after his 23 season was lost. And look at this. I'd like to still have 2 great years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people are saying Aaron Rodgers, his best days are behind him. He's not going to go out there and be what he was. But it's funny because I think he always wanted to play 2 years with the Jets. So I think he could have retired after the season, but since he didn't play last year, he wants those 2 years because Brett Favre played 2 years with the Jets. So he needs to, follow in those footsteps before
he's got to match him. He's got to match him and then go to the Vikings
and then beat Jordan Love.
And it was the last team he needed to beat.
So, what do you think about your expectations for Aaron Rodgers going into the season with the Jets? Now that he's not a division rival, maybe we can get some honesty out of you. This Aaron Rodgers, this version of him with the New York Jets wanting to play 2 years. A lot of noise right now in the New Jersey, New York area about the Jets. They have a better team than they had last year. And apparently the guys are super focused and dialed in. And now it's the Giants that carry the burden of being on Hard Knocks and all the distractions that come with that. The Jets are able to kind of lock in here. And Aaron Rodgers was just talking to somebody that works at Fox Sports, one of his old teammates. And he said on the Colin Cowherd show that he's like, this guy's locked in. Like I was talking to him on the phone and you can just tell that he wants to go out there. He wants to win an MVP. He wants to once again shock the world after they expect him to just be not capable of an MVP type season. But what are your expectations with Aaron Rodgers and what do you think of his mentality going into this year?
Yeah, I don't think there should be any doubt from anyone out there in the league about how about him being locked in and ready to play football, because we saw that he was about ready to come back and play that season. The Jets weren't in contention, and that was the reason he didn't actually come back and play quarterback. But we saw how accelerated his recovery was from that Achilles, and how leading up to his decision towards the end of the season, he was like, if the Jets are in it, if we are in it, I'm going to start a football game and we're going to play and I'm going to be the quarterback and we're going to get into the playoffs. for him again, and for the Jets and for Jets fans, they just weren't in it for the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers didn't come back. In terms of expectations, I think he's going to be Aaron Rodgers. I don't. He's a year older. He's been away from football for over a season. Yes, you got to take all that into account, but he's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Is going to Aaron Rodgers out there, man. He's going to Aaron Rodgers every year, year in, year out. I was like, this is the year that the Bears have his number, and guess what? They didn't. It was never the case because Aaron Rodgers would go out there and play like he only knows how to play, and that's being a fucking MVP and a winner, a Super Bowl winner. So he's going to probably play at a high level. It's just, what will the rest of the team be like, specifically speaking about his offensive line, right? How good are they going to be? What is that protection going to be like for him? Because you don't want him to go out there again and get screwed over by his offensive line, because at that point you're like, the Jets are just cursed.
The Jets are in line to have like a top 10 offensive line.
They are, yeah, because of the improvements they made on that offensive line. And like I said, like Aaron Rodgers is going to go out there and he's going to ball. I think we've already called the Jets being the winners of the AFC East, or at least I did. And actually, let me double check here. No, I had the Bills. You had the Jets. Yeah. So I think they're going to be up there in competition because of Aaron Rodgers. That's the type of impact that Aaron Rodgers makes on a team. He can go to a team next year at the age he's at, with his Achilles being the way it was last year, and it'll make that team an immediate contender. It could be the goddamn Panthers for all I care, and it's already an immediate contender.
If Rodgers goes out there this year and wins the Super Bowl, do you think he retires?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or do you think he's like, no, I said I wanted 2 good years. All right, we got 1. Let's try to get 2. John Elway won 2 in a row and retired. Do you think Rodgers tries to go for a repeat? Or I think he would. I think even if he won the Super Bowl this year, he would want one more go at it to end his career with 3 in the same amount as Peyton Manning, same amount as that really bumps you up into that like
greatness,
one of the greatest
status
of all time.
I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely one of those guys who says something and sticks to what he says. So if he right now has said, I've got 2 great years left in me, and he wins a Super Bowl, there's got to be some shit that went on either with his body, or he has lost the, I don't know, love of the game. Obviously at Super Bowl, you're at the highest probably love of the game. Obviously what happens after that into the offseason is what it is. But there's got to be, I think, some shit that goes down with his body in terms of like, I don't want to get hit by 300-pound linemen anymore after winning a Super Bowl, that he won't do it. But if he is saying right now that he's got 2 more years, or at least he wants to play at least 2 more years, I think he'll do it. I really do think he will do 2 more years. And then after that is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I think 2 more years, and then he'll definitely, I think, retire. I don't think he goes on to play. But it would be crazy if he went to the Vikings if J.J. McCarthy didn't work out.
Yeah, after 2 years. Oh, and then lost against the Saints in the playoffs. That'd be awesome. But I like Bill's question here. Do we honestly think the Jets can beat the Chiefs?
I do. That's an easy one for me.
The Jets have a really good defense. We got to remember that defense on the Jets. And Mahomes is going to be Mahomes. If you were to tell me right now, who are you taking, Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers? I think I'm taking Mahomes. I don't think there's any
top 5 wide receiver, a top 5 running back. You bring in Mike Williams, top 5 offensive line potentially, and a top 5 quarterback. I mean, your offense,
they've got the tools
to be above mediocre to win your games, and you're telling
injuries,
and not get injured. Yeah. So you're telling me that the Jets offense can't score 24 points a game, because the Jets defense, they're going to be locked in and loaded. And this is the best Rodgers has ever had. So the Chiefs, I mean, I expect Xavier Worthy to be really good. I think he'll be up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he'll have a great year. I think he'll be on the vote, but I think ultimately I'm picking that to go to Jaden Daniels. But the Chiefs still don't have the type of team that the Jets do. They don't. They have good players. They got Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, but the Jets are loaded. I mean, even at corner, they have Sauce Gardner. Like, they're going to come out. Hassan Reddick, who's the guy that they got up front? Which one? I mean, they got so many.
Oh
Great
God,
players.
Quinnen Williams,
yeah.
Yeah.
They got the guy that they drafted with the piercings. I can't remember
Oh
his
yeah.
name. But he's
What the
expected
fuck
to
is his
make a
name?
big jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the Jets fully capable of beating the Chiefs, especially if they have an identity by that time of the season.
Jets defense last year gave up 20.9 points per game to opposing offenses. That was 9th overall.
And there was a couple of games where their defense just imploded and gave up like 40 points.
And the Chiefs defense, and yeah, exactly. The Chiefs defense gave up 17.3. And this is going into a year without L'Jarius Sneed. Chris Jones did resign. But we got to give him, I mean, that's a 3-point difference, right? Like, that's a 3-point difference. The Chiefs defense was spectacular last season, but the Jets defense was like right there on their ass as well. So,
real quick though, it's also about time of possession. Like, if Patrick Mahomes is going on 7-minute drives in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter, the Chiefs dominate the time of possession. It limits how much the opposing team can actually score. When you're on a team with the worst offense in the league, like the Jets had, 20 points per game is not that damn bad, because you were getting 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. It actually says more that they averaged 20 than a team with Patrick Mahomes. Like, I think it equals out. I really do, because it's that many times that the offense has the opportunity to score. Your defense has to shut him down on 15 drives rather than 7.
And going into that time of possession comment, third down percentage, completion percentage by opposing teams, 26%. Jets were number 1. First downs allowed, Jets were number 1 with only 260 first downs allowed. So time of possession, points per game, like Jets were up there. Jets are top 5 defense for sure. It all depends how well the Chiefs do. Obviously following that just amazing dominating year last year for the Chiefs defense.
All right. The final thing that I had for us, it might take a little bit of time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to this every year. It's the top 100 players of 2024. Every year the NFL releases this, and they do 10 at a time. We're all the way down to 31, so we have a little bit of catching up to do. But really what I want to know is if you agree with some of these, because some of them are definitely debatable, and that's what this show's all about. So I'm trying to see. I have here 40 through... Oh, they're making me subscribe? Okay, let me just give you 40 through 31, and we'll see if you agree. Number 40 is Devontae Adams, who was number 27 on last year's list. So he drops 13 spots. Then you have Joe Burrow at 39.
Yeah.
39. Yeah. He was at 33 last year, so he dropped 6 spots. Sauce Gardner was 15th last year, and he's at 38 now. So he was coming off crazy. 2022 Rookie of the Year.
That's crazy.
But he still's now made it to 2 straight Pro Bowls. He a lot of people consider him the best cornerback in the league. He saw 57 targets across 16 games, roughly 3.5 per game. He earned the second best PFF coverage grade among cornerbacks, and somehow he falls from 15 to 38. So that's interesting.
That's insane.
At 37, we have another Jet. We just talked about him, Quinnen Williams. 36 is Tua. Tua, being at 36. We'll circle back to that. At number 35, we have Josh Hines Allen,
Mm-hmm.
who recently changed his name. At 34, we have Jordan Love. Jordan Love comes in at number 34. Last year, he wasn't on the top 100, period.
Yeah.
Then at 33, you got Puka Nacua,
Mm-hmm.
who came out of nowhere last year. Now he's on this list, like Jordan Love, wasn't on this list last year. Lit up the season, had 1,486 receiving yards. And then, of course, he had that game against the Lions with 181 yards. That was a record. Another
Savage.
Jet at 32, Quincy Williams.
Quinnen Williams' brother.
Quincy, is it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's Quincy now owns some bragging rights over his brother Quinnen, thanks to these rankings.
No way.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy,
did not
huh?
know that.
Quinnen
Why didn't that come up in Hard Knocks?
Williams' brother. Quinnen Williams and New York Jets signed 2 Williams' brother.
Wow.
Quincy Williams, yep. There you go.
And then at 31, we have Deron Bland. How
like
is
that one.
Deron Bland ranked above Sauce Gardner?
It was because of his interceptions. That's what it was.
Still.
Yeah.
Come on.
5th
No
pick
way.
6 of the year, though. Yeah, I mean, 5 pick 6s in a year, and you do it on Thanksgiving, a primetime game, dude. I mean, let's talk about like star power right there. You know, you're shining in the biggest moment there.
Yeah, but still.
Okay, I was like, no.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you were giving me your top corner in the league, Deron Bland would be in your top 5 probably, but he wouldn't be number 1.
Corners?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, no,
I think
that's fair.
Surtain and Gardner are like in a league of their own.
Surtain, Gardner, L'Jarius Sneed, Trayvon Diggs.
You can't forget about the Bears corner.
Jalen Johnson is very good, although he just doesn't. I mean, he had a couple pick 6s too, or I think 3 or 4 total picks, 1 pick 6. I can't remember. He's very good to cover.
Aren't targeting that side of the field, so
exactly.
like yeah, the same thing happened his last year in Alabama. He was targeted like 12 times the whole season, and they were like, his interceptions are down. Like, yeah,
wow.
That's kind of how that works.
Yeah, no shit.
So, I don't know. I think the pick 6 stat it's a good thing to have pick 6s, but it's hard to judge a cornerback off of that solely. I'm more interested in coverage grade, and I mean the coverage grade is pretty much the bottom line at the cornerback position. So let's see the coverage grade 2023 defensive backs. Here we go. So the 2023 cornerback ranking, Sauce Gardner is at number 1 on the list. Jalen Johnson is at 2.
Nice.
Then you have Darius Williams for 3rd place, who just got a lucrative new contract.
Nice.
I believe that happened last week. Kendall Fuller with the Commanders. Derek
He's
Stingley. Teron Johnson, Michael Carter, Kenny Moore, L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, Brian Branch. So yeah.
Where's Surtain at?
Oh, Surtain had a down year, I think. He's been saying that this year.
Has he really?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, a down year for him is a pretty good year, but
for everyone, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to look at.
So 2 days ago, USA Today posted Pat Surtain was named NFL's best cornerback by coaches, executives, and scouts. And apparently Jeremy Fowler recently surveyed those executives, coaches, and scouts to rank the top players at each position. And Surtain was voted the best out of all of them. And this is what he said. He did not have the best year last year, but he still is the best pure talent. He moves the best. You can do almost anything with him as far as coverage. So if I'm starting a team, I'm probably picking him. So yeah, I mean, by his standards, he had a down year, but he's still considered the best in the league by a lot of
Yeah,
people.
okay.
You're like, where's
Fuck with
Sertan
it.
at?
I was gonna say, like, what happened to Sertan?
I don't know how. It didn't seem like he wasn't. I didn't notice he had a down year.
But like, because I'm looking at the PFF and Sertan is 4th. Okay, so Sertan's 23 season was a step down from his 22, but while his PFF coverage grade took a hit in 23, his advanced metrics looked much better as he turned in the 8th best season when accounting for the difficulty of assignment, separation allowed, and grading on non-targeted plays. So PFF does a really good job at just being able to be like, okay, well, how was he going to go up against Devontae Adams? Was he going up against Puka Nacua? Was he going up against these top wide receivers? Yes. How did he do on those assignments? I really like that the PFF does that because you are able to kind of see, more than like you're saying, interceptions with DaRon Bland, for example. It's just when I think also you have to take into account what DaRon Bland was. Oh my God, what's his name? I just said his name. Trayvon Diggs went down. And he got an injury earlier last season. So that's when it felt like, oh, the secondary for the Cowboys is fucked, right? And then DaRon Bland came up and was like, no, I'm just going to, score 6 touchdowns on 5 pick sixes. No big deal, right? So I think that's kind of what propelled him into that 31st overall players going into 2024.
Yeah, and the list is, I mean, it's going to be different depending on who's doing it. Like, for instance, Tua was 65 on CBS Sports, where he's in the 30s on NFLs, right? So,
oh, wow.
I mean, some of these move dramatically, but just to make it simple, we'll take the 2 quarterbacks that are listed here, and you got Jordan Love ranked higher than Tua Tagovailoa. Right off the bat, do you have any issues with that? And then keep in mind, Joe Burrow was also on this list at 39. I'm going to tell you right now, that is horse shit.
No, there's no way.
Tua over Joe Burrow?
Yeah. Last year? Absolutely. Joe Burrow got hurt.
No, it is way too early for this.
Joe Burrow didn't play the entire season. What do you mean?
You don't lose spots because of that. It's not like he looked bad.
Tua didn't Tua lead the league in passing last year?
Yeah.
In yards, right? So I don't really understand your point of view, I guess, because Burrow is a great quarterback.
He's a franchise. Who are you taking? Joe Burrow?
This isn't about starting a franchise, though.
We're ranking the top 100 players. So how are you going to have a quarterback that you wouldn't take over that guy higher than the other guy?
But we're taking the top 100 players going into 2024 based off last year.
No, based off career. This isn't based on 2023. Of course, it influences the pick, but this is the problem. It shouldn't influence it that much.
But this is what I'm saying, because all it says in here is talking about last year. Every reason as to why they're ranked where they're ranked is based off their prior season, which is the 2023 season. If you're telling me Tua led the league in passing yards and you're going to take Joe Burrow over him who got injured, I don't know how that makes sense, because Tua, look, overall, if you're asking me who I'm starting a franchise with, you're goddamn right I'm taking Joe Burrow. Going into the 2024 season, is Tua ranked 3 spots ahead of Joe Burrow? Yeah, I think that's fair. But
here's the thing. You're looking at the explanations, which the explanations are written by the author of this entire thing.
Right.
The positions are voted on by the players. So although the explanations are referring to last year, they're pretty much just they have the freedom to write about whatever they want, and they're using last year. But think about it: the players, executives, and scouts are the ones voting on this. So that means they got together and Tua finished higher than Joe Burrow, which I can't believe it. I mean, he led the Bengals to a Super Bowl, and the Tua he's played one full season healthy. He had a great season last year, but he hasn't won a playoff game. And I would feel this way if Josh Allen didn't lead the league in passing yards, but he played last year. So, I mean, he's another player that I wouldn't put over Tua, or I would put over Tua. There's like 14 quarterbacks. I mean, I get he had a good season last year, but doesn't this feel like jumping the gun a little bit, putting him above somebody that's already been to an AFC championship game, won an AFC championship game, been to two, the only quarterback that we know can beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? And now all of a sudden, because of his injuries, kind of derailing his season, he drops to 39. I don't know.
So, okay, so players vote on their peers based on their performance for the recent NFL season. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, then how is Joe Burrow on the list at all? Because he didn't play, really.
Right, but he didn't get hurt until I think week 11 or so. And at that point, he had 5 games of multi-touchdown games. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not saying that Tua Tagovailoa is the better overall quarterback than Joe Burrow. I'm just saying he led the league in passing yards last season, made it to the playoffs. Yes, it was a shitty final stretch for the Dolphins, but he made it to the playoff games, played in one of the coldest games that will probably go down in history, and is 3 spots ahead of Joe Burrow, who only played 2/3 of the season. I don't think it's ridiculous to be like, that's horseshit. I really don't.
But what about Jordan Love? Because Jordan Love's ranked even better than Tua, and he didn't even get going until week 11. Like, I mean, Tua was consistent all season. Jordan Love, I mean, so you're saying, but he won his playoff game, and Tua didn't?
So I guess this goes into like also, how did they end the season too, right? Jordan Love and the Packers ended the season pretty much vaulting themselves into a playoff game, won a playoff game in the wild card against one of the better NFC teams throughout the regular season, and had 18 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last, I don't know how many weeks, 8 weeks or something like that. So
yeah. And Burrow did start the season hurt too. He had a calf strain. I remember that.
Exactly. And again, this is all based off last year and how they played, right? So this is an off season. This isn't like, this is taking into account the playoffs as well. You know, we argued about the MVP and how Lamar Jackson won it, but it's like, well, he's the best quarterback in the last third of the season, so he's going to win the MVP. This is, like you said, based off the players and how they assessed their fellow players all of last year. So I won't be surprised if like Mahomes is number 1 again. You know what I mean? Because after such a like down year, he still won his 2nd Super Bowl in a row. I think this is a lot to say about Jordan Love and Tua and what they were able to do last year than the overall careers of all these guys. Because if I asked you right now, based off of Jordan Love's performance last year, who are you starting a franchise with, him or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Exactly. But he's 7 spots higher than Joe Burrow. And like you said, Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. He's beaten Patrick Mahomes.
That's getting harder.
But you see what I mean?
Jordan Love is I mean, I would go with Joe Burrow, but Jordan Love after this season I could change my answer depending on
so go back to what you were saying. But Joe Burrow has beaten Patrick Mahomes, and he has gone to the AFC Championship twice, as well as gone to a Super Bowl. So, but Jordan Love has won a playoff game against a choke artist of a team in the Cowboys. So when you compare the two resumes, right? Like
but I'm not doing it just off last season.
Correct. Well, that's what I mean. But you're saying, I don't know, it's getting harder with Jordan Love, but I'm still going Burrow. It's like, wait, like, I guess that's where I'm like, you still got to take into account everything else. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still taking Joe Burrow and
Right.
more than likely Jordan Love over Tua, but because Tua has had one really damn good season after a season riddled of concussions and inconsistencies. So
Yeah.
overall piece of work, or whatever. Yeah, I'm probably taking Joe Burrow at the end of this day today if we're going off just those three quarterbacks. But based off last season, I think they are ranked fine, honestly.
I guess I didn't realize that they're strictly going off of last season.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different. I always thought the top 100, just like who are the top 100 in the league.
And
it
that's
seems,
why I was going to say, and that's why I think the Deron Bland thing is like, he had 5 pick sixes. So this is what was like, players were like, that guy fucking killed it last year in terms of putting points on the board for his team on defense and still being a threat after Trayvon Diggs went down. So I think that's where this whole thing is coming from.
Yeah. And they probably have like their accolades already.
100%. 100%.
So yeah, love it or don't.
Love it
love
or
is
don't
over Tua and Burrow.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I think that's fair. Where was it? God damn it. I gotta go back. Okay. Because I was gonna look at the other ones. Because it was 40 through 30 that we were looking at. 40 through 31. I don't think I had any problems with any. I mean, Devontae Adams, he had a down year. He still had over 1,000 yards, 103 receptions, and had 8 touchdown pass catches. So that's still not bad.
Yeah, I like Puka Nakua's position.
I like Puka Nakua's position too, because he broke the rookie record and he's still like, hey, you're 33 because there's plenty of other guys that are ahead of you right now, but you're good.
Yeah, you're really good. You went from not being on the list to 33. That's pretty damn good. And then
that's fucking amazing.
Josh Allen, I think this is a good spot for him at 35.
I like that.
The best player on their defense, and he's been very consistent since he's been there. Consistency, I guess that doesn't matter because it's just last year. But yeah,
his 17 and a half sacks trailed only TJ Watt, and he added 66 tackles, 33 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. And that's why he got his contract at $28.3 million a year.
Yeah,
he's a monster.
He's worth every penny. I wonder if he still gets that money since he changed his name.
Oh, they can fucking void that shit right now.
Josh Hines Allen is.
Who was the?
It's me. I've never seen this man before in my life.
Who was the? Keon Coleman was. I don't know if you saw this. When he was signing his contract, he asked the guys like, "How do you want me to sign my name?" And he's like, "Just sign your name." He's like, "Well, yeah, but like my full name or like how I do autographs?" And they're like, "Your full name." Like, it was such a funny interaction because he was being 100% serious, and the guys were like, "Are you fucking with us?" And he's like, "No.
I feel like he like is playing that character though.
What do you mean?
Like he's playing like that character. Like I'm pretending to not know what to do because I'm getting a reaction. But it's fine because it's working out for him. He did it in his press conference too, where he was like,
looked legit though. It was funny.
It did look. I'll check it out.
Yeah, he's a very, very genuine person.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. We need those.
Oh, we also need. I think we need a little bit of.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chives with Kyle. You guys have made it this far. Congratulations.
Chives.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Chives.
John Elway admits biggest mistake as Denver Broncos general manager.
Yep.
And Denver Broncos, John Elway, I mean, he's a legend. He can do no wrong. He had some great highlight moments. I can think of drafting Von Miller. I think the Tebow year was a lot of fun. But Elway, who is going to go down as the Broncos' best quarterback of all time, unless you're going with Peyton Manning, he had one thing that he couldn't do, and it was draft a quarterback.
That's, oh my God. So he does have something in common with the Bears.
Yeah. Very ironic, to say the least, but Elway's incredible legacy goes without saying. So his record as a general manager definitely has its flaws. In fact, Elway himself recently did an interview with Barstool Sports and admitted his worst mistake as a general manager of the Denver Broncos was passing on Josh Allen in the 2018 NFL draft. And he says, that was probably my biggest mistake of my general manager days. And this was John Elway being quoted. I know he is exactly my type and I loved him, right? But I just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And he was my type. That was probably my biggest mistake of my GM days, was not taking Josh Allen. And at 6'5", Josh Allen's athletic talents and cannon of an arm made him the ideal player for John Elway to take a swing on, because you would especially know this to be true if you're a Broncos fan, because all of the quarterbacks John Elway drafted were 6'7", 6'5", with big arms. Brock Osweiler. There's other ones that are very forgettable, but Elway consistently was in love with this prototype quarterback that's very tall with a big arm, which was exactly what Josh Allen was. And at that time, Elway hesitated on pulling the trigger when Allen was there with the 5th overall pick in the 2018 draft. First of all, Paxton Lynch was the guy in 2000.
I'm so sorry, Kyle.
Another tall guy, right? In fact, as of the 2018 NFL draft, Lynch was still on the Broncos roster. There's no doubt that the failure of Lynch played a role in Elway passing on Allen, who struggled at times to hit the broadside of the barn as a college quarterback, even though his arm talent and athletic traits were so obvious. Allen's NFL draft projection was anything but a sure thing by the time we got to the 2018 draft. So they're saying, like, this was still fresh in his mind that he just swung and a miss on this same type of quarterback. And had that not happened, maybe he would have gone with Josh Allen. But it's like, the more quarterbacks you draft that you don't get right, the more you question the quarterbacks that you're drafting. And I think he got in his head a little bit. The Browns took Baker Mayfield, the Jets took Sam Darnold, and the Broncos passed the perceived floor on Josh Allen. And other people like Josh Rosen were even drafted higher than Josh Allen. Beyond the Paxton Lynch debacle, it was completely unexpected for Bradley Chubb to fall to the Broncos at number 5 overall, and he was expected to go in the top 4, presumably to the Giants or the Browns. The Browns had multiple picks in the top 4, but they surprised everyone by passing on Chubb and taking Denzel Ward. Once Chubb was sitting there, the idea of pairing up Von Miller with another top 5 rush talent was too much for the Broncos to pass on. Josh Allen does not get drafted. They go with Chubb, which, I mean, you could logically say, oh my God, we're getting another Von Miller on the other side. Hard to pass up, but I just can't believe it's like you with Mahomes, right? You just you can't imagine how different your franchise would be if it had Josh Allen. But I don't really get caught up in this game because I think to myself, well, maybe if the Broncos drafted Josh Allen wouldn't have become Josh Allen. Maybe it was something wrong with the building, not the player.
I was going to say too, so with that being said, because it was a 2018 draft, right? And I was looking at the roster for the Broncos. You had a rookie, Phillip Lindsay. You had wide receiver 1 and 2, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, with a young 23-year-old Cortland Sutton, a 25-year-old Tim Patrick. Do think that would have been enough for Josh Allen? Because Josh Allen really didn't become Josh Allen until Stephon Diggs came into the building, right?
I think he had 1 year without Diggs that he was good, and then year 3, I think he got Diggs. I know his first year he was still a project, a lot of raw talent. He worked a lot on his mechanics. I remember even going into year 2, they pulled up film from last year and they showed they were timing his release, and it got so much better in 1 year because he was working on that. So I think it was year 2 that he improved a lot, but I think year 3 he got Diggs. But regardless, like, it's hard to know because if I'm not mistaken, Brian Dable was the guy that was Josh Allen's quarterback coach during that time frame, I think.
Yeah, maybe he was.
So, and that was a big reason that he was a head coach candidate, because he's like, look what I did with Josh Allen. And they were like, well, maybe he can do that with our quarterback. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know. You can't play that game. John, if you're listening to this, you didn't know. You didn't know.
I love you.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's
everybody
the thing.
knows.
The Broncos drafted Bo Nix with the 6th pick, and they say that that's their favorite quarterback in the draft, and he was the last one taken in the first round. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
You know who definitely doesn't know? The Browns and the Bears definitely don't know.
Neither do the Broncos. Hopefully that's all changed for both of us.
I hope so, because the Browns have already fucked up with Baker. So they made their own bed, but I do hope this draft in 2024 changes the trajectory of the Bears and Broncos. I really do.
Can't agree more.
Couldn't agree more. Bill's asking, do they have a statue of Elway at the stadium?
They have a statue of Pat Bowlen at the stadium.
Oh, not Elway. Okay.
No, they do. They have, but like Pat Bowlen's kind of off in his own like magnificent area.
Yeah.
And then they have a wall of the great Broncos. Manning and Elway are next to each other.
Oh, nice.
But Rick says that this is going to be the year that Caleb Williams changes the trajectory of the Bears for the rest of the series, for the rest of his life. And I just have one question for Rick when he talks like that.
I wish I were high on pot news.
One of the 3 sides.
I wish I was high on pot news.
How dare you? How dare you, you son of a bitch. After all the hope I had for the Broncos, gone. I hope Bo Nix fails.
Oh,
I hope
come
he
on.
fails hard.
Come on.
I don't know.
You don't want to see a Chiefs jersey back there?
No, I don't. I hope it's a good time. I really do hope it's a good time for the Broncos, because really the Broncos are my AFC team. That's what it is now. So
it's going to be a good year for both of us.
It's going to be a great year for both of us. I already see it. We're going to be doing a lot more cheering, a lot more smiles than frowns and fucking just than all that shit. But
if you guys want to see those great reactions, look no further, because you can follow us on X. At NFL with Kyle and now Rick. You can see those right below. You'll see Rick wearing Bears gear again by week 5. You will see me hopefully happy. And you can also follow Rick on his YouTube channel. Hey, I'm Rick.
Hold on.
Boom.
Yo, I'm Rick.
I'm Rick. So close. And you guys can follow me at Kyle Kitzman. Oh, Bill, you don't know what Barrel Man is?
Oh, what's a Barrel Man?
Barrel Man is the Broncos. He's no longer with us, but he was the greatest Denver Broncos fan in the history of
really?
the Broncos. He showed up every game. He was inside of a barrel, and he was called Barrel Man. And I'm going to show you. You deserve to know.
We need to know now. Absolutely, we do.
Let's
up in a barrel.
This guy is actually, the NFL did a thing on NFL Network called Top 10 Home Field Advantages. The Broncos came in at number 2, and he was actually in the video.
They
He
have a
was sitting
statue
there
of him?
going, you can't breathe. You need the oxygen.
They have a statue of him too, apparently.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Oh, that's crazy. That guy's awesome. I love the fit, dude. The fit is nice.
Yeah,
The-
so
Oh,
I
he
hope
died at 69? Nice.
Yeah. No. He died at 69 years old.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, he died at 69 doing 69. Got it.
Hopefully.
That's
But
hot.
yeah, man. I can only hope that I can be remembered as one of the great fans of the Denver Broncos, and I think I
We're on our
will as
way.
the channel grows. People are gonna be like, hey,
Mhm.
there's this really big Broncos fan out there, and
We're on our
I
way.
have big hopes and dreams.
Yep. Dude, I believe it. We're on our way. We're on our way for sure. And with that being said, real quick for all you guys here, Bill, KC, Crafty, anybody else who's joined us, this will be the last time you see me until next week.
Wow.
Thursday is what we're aiming for.
Scare me like that.
This is the last time you're ever gonna see me. All right. But I am gonna be in the process of finally moving into my brand new home. As long as everything goes smoothly, I shall be the next time you see me on screen, my background isn't gonna be fucking boring and millennial gray. So it's gonna have the flag, it's gonna have hats, it's gonna have lights. I'm gonna actually finally match the energy that Kyle's screen is giving right now. So next time you guys see me is in about 10 days or so. And my background is gonna be even better than it's ever been before. And we're gonna be able to talk about the Hall of Fame game that the Bears played. There's probably gonna be the preseason week 1 going into that weekend. Thank you, Bill. Congratulations. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, the next time you guys see me, it's gonna be my new house, new setup, new everything heading into the 2024 preseason and then going into the 2024 NFL regular season, baby.
Do you remember that Lil Wayne song that was like, F you, man, my shoes brand new. F you, man, brand
No,
new.
I don't remember that one.
Oh,
Is
man.
that gonna be me? Is that gonna be me?
It's called Brand New. I'll send it to you.
Brand new, my favorite, brand new. I'm gonna listen to it as I'm moving.
Brand new. But yeah, dude, congrats on the new home. That's super exciting.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited.
Definitely, we understand here all the time that you need to get settled in. If you need an extra, stream or something, we can hold it down here for you while you get set up. I would rather you take the extra time and actually set up properly than look like a jackass, with boxes, all that.
Kyle's like, no, dude, honestly, if you need another week to not look like dog shit, go ahead.
Because your background's absolute
dog
shit. No, it's really not that bad. I was just trying to be friendly. Grassi also just bought a house. Weird how that worked out.
I saw that.
Moving. Are you guys moving in together?
All right. I didn't want to do a reveal right now, but
oh
no, I'm
God.
just kidding. I wish.
It's good for the brand.
It's good for the brand. It's good for the brand. This is actually my last episode on the Only Football Podcast. I'm actually part of the Grassi Posse. No, I'm just kidding.
You're gonna raid me.
Hey, let's give Gold Kyle a raid.
7 viewers. I remember those days. Ha.
GRS. The Grassi Rick Show.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
Get fucked,
yeah, man.
Kyle.
Exciting time.
Exciting time for sure. But thank you guys for everyone who came out today. Bill, KC, Valdez, Crafty, everybody who joined us today. Thank you guys so much. It's always a great time when we got questions from you guys and we're able to just kind of kick it and talk to you guys. And Bill, I saw your tweet. Cannot wait for that game down in LA. Cannot wait for that game. Broncos, Chargers or Rams? Chargers, right?
Chargers. Jim Harbaugh versus Sean Payton.
It's gonna be a fucking game, dude. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
It's
Cannot
gonna be a
wait for
good
that.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna be doing vlogging and stuff, videos with
Oh,
Bill.
yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, a lot of vlogging. I'm going to the Broncos home opener against the Steelers. So week 2, you will be without a live stream from me, but I will make up for it with quality content. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be out there interviewing fans, boots on the ground. I got to be there for the home opener, and then I'll come back home and stream all the games for you guys. But got to be there for my Broncos. I got to do it. The home opener 3 years in a row.
You got to do it. You got to do it. I love that. I love 3 years in a row. That's fucking awesome. That is fucking awesome.
You know how much the tickets are for that game?
$700.
If you buy 2 of them, yeah.
It's like
those are nosebleed seats.
Oh, dude, that's the fucking worst.
It's a good thing there's not a bad seat in the house, but it's still insanely expensive. But
I know.
It's a moment. It's a moment. Yeah. And I was there when Russell Wilson returned to Seattle. I love these moments. Hopefully I get one that goes my way.
I was going to say, yeah. And Bill said he's got us covered on pizza and beer. Let's go. I love it. Slice and pint. Slice and pint. We're going to raid you guys. We're going to raid Slice and Pint and get some coverage there. So thank you guys again for joining us. Kyle, always a good time, brother.
Always a good time.
See ya.